With nearly half of teens admitting to being online almost constantly, a push to put away screens in school is gaining ground. Pennsylvania is testing out a first-in-the-nation plan making kids lock their phones in a secure pouch similar to this one on your screen. Pennsylvania Senator Ryan Aument is one of the lawmakers who's making it happen, and he joins us now. You know, Ryan, I've heard about these movements. In fact, there's one at my children's school in Texas on a school-by-school basis to get the phone out of the classroom. But you guys are talking about making it a law. Why do you feel like it's necessary for a law?
Well, I think this is a critical step. Look, as a dad, as the husband of an educator, the decline in student academic performance, the decline in student mental health, the distraction in our schools is so significant. It's so striking. And there's very compelling data, extremely compelling data that backs all of this up. What we as parents, I think, know to be true, and that is we need to free our kids from these devices for a portion of the day, for the 6.5 hours of the school day. And so the approach that we are taking is to provide grant funding to schools to purchase cell phone lockable devices, cell phone pouches. You showed the example of Yonder. Yonder is one such example that produces these bags so that the phones are removed completely from the student for the 6.5 hours during the school day. Provide the funding. Look, we spend a lot of money on mental health services in schools, as we should. We spend a lot of money in our schools. But I fear that if we don't remove these devices, give our kids a break from these devices, we're not going to really move the needle with respect to student academic performance and certainly not our students' mental health.
Well, explain to me, though, the necessity or the significance of the pouch. Like, you're talking about taking it away from students so that they can focus in the classroom. Why do you need this, like, secure pouch and these kind of things? Can't just be put in a bin?
Well, yeah, I'm a parent, and I've got a 13-year-old son, and if anything, he's very creative, and our kids are very creative at being able to get to devices that are not secured. So I think there's two issues at hand. One is to make sure that the phones are removed from the student, because the temptation, the addiction to reach for, to look for the device, to be sensitive to the sheer volume, high volume of notifications they receive over the course of an hour, certainly of the day. So it's critically important to remove the devices, one, and two, to make sure from a liability standpoint that they're being safely secured. Because what I hear from educators, from school administrators, is the fear to take the phone away because they don't want to be responsible if a phone is stolen or damaged.
Right. Well, yesterday we had this discussion, and I was telling my co-hosts, it's not as unanimous as you might believe among parents. So we asked some of our viewers, hey, if you have concerns about this type of law or even just school policy on an individual school basis, what are those concerns? This is the primary one we heard, and I'll share it with you. This is from Jennifer. She emailed in. She said, I worry about safety in school if nobody has a phone to call 911. Unfortunately, we have school shootings, and response time is critical. And I got to tell you, Senator, I heard that over and over. That's the primary response we got. Schools become a safety, phones become a safety tool for kids if there's ever a school shooting.
Without question, that is the most challenging issue that's been brought to our attention. And certainly, again, as a dad, I'm sensitive to that. And certainly there's deep emotion behind that. The reality is, and the conversation we are having with parents and with families here, is that your child is actually far safer when the phone is removed. Because in an emergency situation, I hear this from school safety experts, in an emergency situation, what you want is a student to be following the directions of an adult, to be completely focused on the instructions of an adult, and to have a responsible adult who is contacting emergency services personnel. Removing phones are going to make our kids healthier, perform better academically, and keep them far safer in a school setting. And I know the emotion, the challenge of that. And I will tell you, if in fact students need to access the phones, you can unlock these bags very quickly, and they can be cut open. So the students can get access to it. But what we want in an emergency situation is a student following the directions of a responsible adult.
Well, we got to leave it there. But we'll be watching what you guys do in Pennsylvania and see how it goes over with the voters. Senator Ryan Aument, thanks so much for being with us this morning.